Hello and welcome to Accelerate. I am Matt Stone. This is the podcast where we encourage and inspire CEOs, founders, and visionaries on their big leap journeys. We talk about the stories and strategies that will help you accelerate toward your big leap destination with purpose, humility, an open mind, commitment to growth, and recognition that the way we get there is at least as important as where we end up. And I'm so delighted that you've tuned in today. And it is Wednesday, September 14th. As always, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. I hope you're well, and I hope things are going well for you this week, wherever you are. Yesterday, I had this moment where I kind of felt deep gratitude for someone. It kind of came out of nowhere. It's kind of one of those benefits of gratitude that if I foster it, it kind of comes up every once in a while in random places where I don't expect it, and then it feels pretty good. It's kind of a little vitamin shot, a spiritual vitamin shot, if you will. But I was feeling grateful for a man named Glenn Hausman, and you're probably thinking, who the hell is Glenn Hausman? And that's a fair question. But actually, if you're in the hospitality industry, you may know who he is. He is. I'm looking at his LinkedIn right now. Listed as #1 hospitality podcast. It's called No Vacancy. Top 100 most powerful people in global hospitality. #1 hospitality social media influencer, and he does event speaking, and he's a board member, and et cetera, et cetera. But Glenn, I ran across Glenn because he partners with a celebrity named Anthony Melchiori. And now Anthony is a hotel guy, hospitality industry expert. He has a show on, on cable television. So in the U.S., he's somewhat well known. If you like reality TV, you kind of know who Anthony Melchiori is, and he's a bona fide expert and consultant in the hospitality industry. So he's a television star, but he's also a legitimate practitioner. And I sort of like some of the stuff that Anthony puts out there because I think he's, from what I can tell, the guy is really genuinely passionate about people. He understands that hospitality is about a relationship, and that you're in a real relationship with your guest who's staying at your property. And so some of the stuff he talks about really overlaps with what we do in the leadership and relationship management and building trust and feedback conversations, et cetera. So I kind of was following him, and then I saw that he did a podcast. So I was watching it one day, and I was thinking about doing a podcast at that time, but I was overwhelmed by all what I was looking online in terms of equipment and software and where do you get started. I was just, you know how the internet is. It's a bottomless pit. And everything's on there, which is great. You can find anything, but the problem is everything's on there, including crappy stuff. So, you can just really, if you don't know what you're doing, you're starting out doing something. I mean, I'm not an audio guy. I don't know, I don't know the difference between I didn't know the difference between all the different microphones and audio processors. And anyway, all the different pieces of equipment. So it's easy to get the wrong thing or get way too much stuff than you really need. And I watched on LinkedIn. There was an episode of the podcast with Glenn and Anthony, and I thought, wow, they do a really good job. I like the sound, I like his equipment, and I was feeling pretty buried in my research. And then it occurred to me, well, what if you just reach out to Glenn and ask him what equipment he uses? I thought, the guy's, he's busy. He's got his podcast. I don't know him. But I did. I reached out on LinkedIn. I connected with him and I said, hey, I love what you're doing. I'm trying to start a podcast. Can you just tell me what equipment you use? And honestly, I did not expect a response. I mean, I've been doing this, I've been in sales and business development a long time. And I know that, most of the time not most, but a lot of the time you won't get a response, and fair enough. I mean, I don't really know him. But Glenn wrote right back. He was so gracious, so kind. And he gave me the specs of what he used. I ended up going with a different microphone. This is in my previous podcast. But it really helped me understand what the equipment was that I needed to start off with. And I was able to get that put together, and it got me out of paralysis. And we've been connected on LinkedIn ever since, and I kind of pay attention to what he's doing, and he's continued to mature his podcast. And now that I'm in the New York City area, I'll probably reach out to him again and thank him. And I think that's the other point, is when somebody shows kindness like that, what I like to do is make sure to follow up and let them know how the action that he chose to take in responding to me in the first place and being kind and gracious and sharing that with me, that it helped, that I took steps based on that it improved, my quality of life, and through me, hopefully some other people's as well, because they get to listen to the podcast. I think it's so important to circle back and let them know the impact of what they did. And it also has the benefit of helping me hang on to that gratitude. It also helps build relationships. I mean, this is how relationships are built. So appreciation is truly one of the most powerful feedback mechanisms that we can use, is letting people know what they did, and that specifically what they did and how it impacted us positively. Feedback is not a negative thing always. So I will be reaching out to Glenn probably this week and just thanking him and congratulating him on doing such a great job on his work and helping to inspire me and get me going when I was buried in I had lists upon lists upon lists of equipment, and I was starting to chase my own tail on decision-making paralysis, and it was wasting time and energy, and he helped pull me out of that ditch. So who can you recognize, this week who's helped you, but maybe you never circled back with them? Or the other question would be, are you stuck and there's somebody you could reach out to ask for help? That would be the other question. So I try to keep it to one topic, but it's very hard. It's all intertwined. So I hope that inspires you to help you get through whatever you're getting through and connect with the joy and gratitude that is already vested, but maybe covered up a little bit. Hope that helps. Look, if you like this podcast and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please share it with family and friends, colleagues. Post it on social media. Website's mattstone.co, mattstone.co. Twitter handle @mattstoneco. Instagram @mattstoneco. And we will join together tomorrow for another few minutes to reflect as we get our day going. Thanks as always for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.